Once upon a time, in the land of England, a powerful and famous king named Henry VIII ruled. He had many children, but sadly their stories were marked by loss and struggle. Let's visit their world. The story begins with a baby girl named Mary, born in 1516. She had a mother named Catherine of Aragon, whom Henry eventually divorced. Then came Anne Boleyn, with her beautiful brown hair and her famous black and yellow French hood. And Henry had another little girl named Elizabeth, born in 1533. Not long after, in 1537, a boy named Edward was born to Jane Seymour, who would never see her son grow as she passed away soon after his birth. Despite losing their mothers, these children were destined to become key figures in history. In 1547, King Henry VIII died, and young Edward became the new king. With his blonde hair, Edward was nice to his people and showed kindness to the poor, but he was very ill. Sadly, his reign came to an end in 1553 when he passed away. This led to a brief moment when Lady Jane Grey was named queen. She was known as the 9 Days Queen because, after just a little over a week, she was captured and beheaded when Mary Tudor, Edward's older sister, claimed the throne. Mary, with her fiery red gold hair and a coif under her black French hood, became queen in 1553. Her rule was harsh, and she became known for burning people at the stake who disagreed with her religious beliefs. When Mary died in 1558, her half-sister Elizabeth Tudor took the crown. Elizabeth, with her striking orange hair and a glistening yellow crown, was wise and defeated her enemies, earning the title of the Virgin Queen because she never married. Her reign was long and filled with triumphs, like the defeat of the Spanish Armada, making her a beloved figure in history. Finally, in 1603, after a glorious and impactful reign, Elizabeth Tudor passed away, bringing an end to the remarkable Tudor era. This was a story of courage, loss, and ultimately, greatness as each Tudor child left their mark on history. In the grand halls of the English court, a tiny new life began in 1537. Jane Seymour, the sweet queen with her soft blonde hair and a bright gable hood, gave birth to Edward Tudor. But sadly, young Edward never got to meet his loving mother because she passed away soon after his birth. Left with his father, King Henry VIII, Edward was adored and cherished above all else, even more than his sisters. As he grew, people noticed that Edward, with his own blonde hair, was kind-hearted. He lived in luxurious castles, but cared deeply for the poor. By 1547, King Henry VIII had passed away, and 9-year-old Edward stepped up as the new king. His reign was short, but filled with good intentions and fairness. One of Edward's dearest friends was a girl named Jane Grey, who wore her dark brown hair with a striking red French hood. The two shared a special bond, even though Jane had no idea she would later become queen. Sadly, Edward fell sick and could not recover. In 1553, Edward passed away, leaving the throne empty. His dear friend, Jane Grey, ascended to become queen but faced many challenges. Her time as queen was even shorter than Edward's. Unfortunate political maneuvers led to Jane's capture and, eventually, her beheading. Following Jane's downfall, Edward's older sister, Mary Tudor, took the throne. With her striking red gold hair and solemn black French hood, she ruled in a much different way than Edward. Mary faced many challenges, but she remained a significant figure in the Tudor story. Thus, the tale of Edward Tudor, the gentle-hearted king, intertwined with the fates of his quicksilver friend, Jane Grey, and his resolute sister, Mary. The Tudor dynasty continued its storied history, full of intrigue, love, and loss. Once upon a time, in a land called England, there lived a princess named Mary Tudor. She was born in 1516 to King Henry VIII and his wife, Catherine of Aragon. From a young age, Mary had beautiful red gold hair and often wore a fancy headpiece called a French hood with an elegant coif underneath. King Henry VIII wanted a son to inherit his throne, a male heir, But fate had other plans. Unable to have a son with Catherine, he decided to divorce her in 1533 and marry another queen named Anne Boleyn, and was known for her striking brown hair and her distinctive black and yellow French hood. Despite the changes in her family, Mary grew up a princess. Then, in 1547, King Henry VIII passed away. His young son, Edward, became king. However, Edward's rule was short. After his death, Lady Jane Grey was declared queen, but her reign lasted only 9 days before being overthrown, and sadly, she was sentenced to death. Now it was Mary's turn to take the throne. As Queen Mary I, she faced many challenges ruling her country. Some people remember her as Bloody Mary because she tried to return the kingdom to the Catholic faith by punishing those who resisted, which included burning some of her subjects. Mary also had her sister, Elizabeth Tudor, with bright orange hair, locked away in a tower for a time, fearing Elizabeth might plot against her to take the throne. Despite these fears, Mary eventually passed away in 1558. Following her death, Elizabeth Tudor became Queen Elizabeth I. The new queen was beloved for her wisdom and strength, often celebrated as one of England's greatest monarchs. Even after her death, the stories of Queen Mary Tudor were still told, and many remembered her with a mix of fear and respect. This tale of two queens, Mary and Elizabeth, shaped the history of England in unforgettable ways. Once upon a time, in the vibrant world of the 16th century, a baby girl named Elizabeth Tudor was born. The year was 1533, and she was the daughter of King Henry VIII and Queen Anne Boleyn. Little Elizabeth had orange-red hair and often dreamed of exciting adventures. Elizabeth's father, Henry VIII, was a busy and powerful king who didn't pay much attention to her. However, her mother, Anne, with her rich brown hair and elegant black and yellow French hood, cared deeply for Elizabeth. Sadly, when Elizabeth was just 2 years old, her mother was beheaded. King Henry continued his reign, but it was a challenging time for little Elizabeth. In 1547, King Henry VIII passed away, and Elizabeth's young half-brother, Edward, became king. Edward ruled for a few years, but he was not meant to be king for long. After his death, Lady Jane Grey became queen but was quickly removed and executed. Mary Tudor, Elizabeth's older half-sister, was next in line for the throne. With her red gold hair and elegant French hood, Mary became queen. She was known as Bloody Mary for her harsh rule and desire to change the country's religion back to Catholicism. Elizabeth had to be very careful during Mary's reign. In 1558, Mary died, and it was finally Elizabeth's turn to wear the crown. Young Elizabeth, with a heart full of hope, became Queen Elizabeth I. She wore a beautiful yellow crown and ruled with kindness and wisdom. Queen Elizabeth I became beloved by her people. She was known for being both fair and strong. Elizabeth understood the struggles of the poor and treated them kindly. She also faced many enemies and bravely defeated them, becoming known as a powerful queen. Elizabeth chose not to marry and was often called the Virgin Queen. She loved her people dearly, and they loved her back. In 1603, after a long and successful reign, Queen Elizabeth I passed away. Her legacy lived on as one of the greatest queens in history. This is the remarkable story of Elizabeth Tudor, who ruled with grace and courage.